If Chardonnay was the grape of the 2010s, then Sauvignon Blanc is the influencer of the 2020s. It even has a pet name, Sauvy B. And depending where it grows, it can have a range of tastes and flavors. So today, we're gonna try the different styles from a country that specializes in this grape, Chile. The diverse geography and climate from south to north make this region a pretty ideal spot for Sauvignon Blanc. And it also happens to be the third largest producer in the world. I tasted a collection of Sauvignon Blanc wines from across the country. By the way, tasting white wines at room temperature is brutal. Those wines can't hide their flaws. And overall, I was very impressed with the quality. You know, as a sommelier, it's pretty easy to ignore what's going on in Chile. You know, there's a lot of French and Italian restaurants, but there aren't a lot of Chilean restaurants with big wine lists. And yet, I did notice a really distinct style in all of these wines. And in fact, I identified two distinct styles of Sauvignon Blanc, which are both fascinating. I also discovered something kind of crazy, which I'll show you in a tip at the end.
All of these wines in the group exuded green herbal aromas. I smelled passion fruit, green pepper, guava, gooseberries, crunchy pea, and this mineral note I started describing like wet seashells. The aromatic intensity in these wines is off the charts, but the taste is very unexpected. I was expecting a fruit-forward wine like you might find in Marlborough, New Zealand. But these wines are more lean and dry, with pretty high acidity and a savory, almost saline quality. With all the European and French influence in Chile, it actually kind of makes sense. Most of the immigrants to Chile that started winemaking happened during the 19th and 20th centuries, and they came from Europe. For these wines, I want to pair them with sushi. So how do you find this green, peppery, grassy, and minerally style? Well, for that answer, we need to look at Chile's unique geography. Chile is a skinny, long country that's almost 2,700 miles long and only 300 miles wide at the widest point. It means at any point in Chile, you're not too far from the Pacific coast, as well as the massive Andes Mountains. And the closer to the coast you sit, the more fog-covered and cooler the climate is. So I started looking up where the vineyards of each wine was and discovered that all of these wines with the trademark lean green style sit very close to the coast, like in Casablanca Valley or Leda Valley. So what about the other style that I found? These wines had a much riper peachy element to the aromas. I smelled peach, mango, ripe gooseberry, a touch of vanilla bean, and this powerful mineral quality like ocean spray or wet chalk. So these wines smell super peachy and sweet on the nose, but again, they're very different on the palate. They taste lean with balanced alcohol, a chalky texture, high acidity, and salinity. It kind of makes me crave Thai coconut curry. That would be a great pairing. So if this is what you're looking for in a Sauvignon Blanc, let's again look at Chile's geography. So it's true that distance to the coast matters, but it's also the climate changes as you go north. In fact, it's a desert here. The Atacama is one of the driest, most remote places on Earth. It's why some of the largest, most powerful Earth telescopes are located here. Surprisingly, the Humboldt effect supports agriculture here along the coast. The high sunshine produces riper peach flavors in Sauvignon Blanc, while the fog keeps it cool enough and prevents the grapes from producing wines with too high of alcohol. The result is the wines have riper fruit aromas and a super lean, silky palate with lower alcohol. Besides these wines from the Atacama region, you can also find this style of more peachy Sauvignon Blanc when you look closer inland. Now, while I was tasting all this wine, there was one that didn't fit the mold, the EQ Coastal. This wine tasted peachy and gooseberry and green at the same time, and it says it's from Casablanca Valley. So what I did was I looked up the exact vineyard area of where this winery is and discovered that they're in an elevated zone. They might be getting a little higher elevation and more sunshine thus in the day, which would result in more peachy flavors in the wines. Still, I thought it was peachy enough to include in this, even though it is technically a coastal wine.
Remember when I said I discovered something strange about Chilean Sauvignon Blanc? This might sound crazy, but I would decant most of these bottles. It's because they're made reductively, where exposure to oxygen is greatly reduced throughout the winemaking process to preserve the aromas, and the wines need some air to show their best. Overall, I was surprised at the value. Many of these wines are sustainable and made with organically grown grapes. Even at introductory price points, you can still taste a hint of Chile's trademark aromatics and a lean mineral palate. They make great wines for cooking.
So I hope this video was illuminating and will help you find the style of Sauvignon Blanc that you love. And if you love white wine and want to learn more about it, check out this next video about the different fundamental styles of white wine. And special thanks to Wines of Chile for sending us so much wine and supporting wine education. Until next time, happy tasting. Peace out.